Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. Many get into the field of property management, but soon realize they're in a tangled web of issues that easily trap those who do not grasp its complexity. On tonight's episode, we will take a closer look at the most common traps and how to avoid them. This specialized practice of real estate, property management, yields the majority of complaints received by the Texas Real Estate Commission. And a review of the sanctions that are often levied in this particular practice shows thousands of dollars more than other infractions, and termination of agents' licenses often. So why does property management cause so many issues for agents? And what can they do to avoid becoming the subject of a complaint? An important factor to consider with property management is there are additional rules and laws that apply to this area of real estate. They include the Texas Property Code, the Texas Real Estate Commission rules, and any possible local city ordinances. We reached out to an agent who agreed to speak to us on condition of anonymity to find out more about these pitfalls and their consequences. I want to thank you again for agreeing to speak with us today. We know other agents will be able to learn a lot from your story.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. I'm not proud of all this. I hope no one else will make the same mistakes I did.
Let's talk about those mistakes. What surprised you the most about property management?
I knew there were rules for property management, but I didn't know there were that many rules.
Okay, so give us some examples of the types of issues you ran into.
Sure. For example, I knew I was responsible for making necessary repairs, but I guess I didn't know what necessary really meant, and I didn't know I had a limited amount of time to make them. I thought, it's just a leaky faucet. What harm could it cause? Well, it turns out all that water cost $300 to my tenant to pay their utility bill.
$300? How long did it leak for?
Yeah, it's about 2 months. Turns out repairs are supposed to be done 7 days after they're reported. Did you know 7 days is a week? Gosh, fast.
I assume the tenant was reimbursed that amount from their security deposit, or perhaps their rent was reduced.
Well, that's kind of a funny story. I'd already spent it.
I want to come back to that issue, but first, I have a feeling that's not the only rule you broke. Tell me more.
Yeah, security devices. I didn't know you had to have all these special locks on doors. Sliding doors need latches or security to bars. Peepholes on any door looking outside. I don't think I've ever looked through a peephole. Those kinds of things. Not only that, but they have to be a certain height from the floor and installed with additional protections. And here's the kicker. Every time I had a new tenant, I had to rekey the whole place. You know how expensive that is? I decided to skip it one time. I'm not proud of it. That didn't end well. Not well at all.
What in fact happened?
Yeah. Well, I had a previous tenant. He left something behind after his lease ended, and he went back to get it. He rang the doorbell, the right thing to do, before he entered, but he still had his key, so he opened the front door, just walked right on in. Let's just say the current occupant was not thrilled.
In addition to repairs and security deposits, agents are required to make certain adequate smoke detection is installed in the property. More specifically, at least one of the smoke detectors must be installed in every bedroom, corridors joining those bedrooms, and if it's a two-story home, one must be installed on each floor. That's just a small part of the rules for smoke detectors. But what we learned from talking to agents and tenants was money is the most common source of problems. So let's go back to that repair of the leaky faucet and you're not repairing it. You mentioned you had already spent the security deposit. Would you like to justify your thoughts on why you thought that was a good idea?
Well, it wasn't my finest hour, I'll tell you that. I had these closings coming up. I knew I was going to finish big, so I went ahead and spent some of the money I received as rent for my owner's property with the expectation that I was going to pay him back. Well, in real estate, nothing's guaranteed, and those deals never closed, and every month I just kept telling the owner he'd get his money, but the hole I was digging kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It was so big, I spent the security deposit. Not a good day.
It doesn't end there. This anonymous property manager ended up being sued by the property owner and getting his license suspended. Some might say he got what he deserved, but most likely, there are many other property managers out there who have made the same mistakes and assumptions this one did. So how can you protect yourself? Remember, property managers are forbidden from commingling money that belongs to the tenant or the property owner with their own business accounts. Agents are required under TREC rules to always maintain separate trust accounts for their property management activities, and these accounts must be in the name of their broker. Take the time to study the rules and regulations set forth by the Texas Property Code and the Texas Real Estate Commission so you understand your expectations and can avoid falling into these common traps. If you have any ideas for future episodes, please contact us at legal@sabor.com. Thank you for tuning in. You know, I really appreciate you coming to talk to us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.